Transportation organizations are in a continuous struggle to improve efficiency and safety and provide better rider services or experiences. While the transportation industry is often slow to adopt change, the communications technology has truly lagged behind and is now ripe for modernization and transformation. My name is Jim Nyhan. I have 30 plus years in transportation, most recently working for the MBTA in Boston. I actually acted as the manager of paratransit operations. I assist in innovations, technology, the communication center, contact control center. I'm currently the owner of Transit TAMS, a transportation consulting service. People are relying on technology inside of vehicles that actually should be a safety net for drivers. It could be that a driver is in the urban area and that they're in between a bunch of tall buildings and they just don't have any communication, or it's very staticky. They could be in a rural area and they could have not enough reception. There's the dealing with the latency. There are just many factors, and when all of that happens, what it does is it causes a backlog for dispatchers and drivers to be able to communicate. Today's customers also have higher expectations for convenience. For on-demand operations like paratransit, radios hinder communications between drivers and customers they serve. Modernizing in-vehicle technology is the most transformative step a transportation organization can take, and Orion's PTT is a large part of making the evolution fully possible. What I've been able to do in the past is I've been able to get rid of all of the older technologies in a vehicle, put a tablet in a vehicle, and all that I have on that tablet are the applications that a driver needs to use to be successful and to be safe. That would be transportation management software, it's navigation, but more importantly for me, it actually is the Orion PTT 2.0. What that means is that number one is that I have reliable communication between my driver and my dispatchers and other personnel that may need to be engaged in that conversation. But on top of that, it's a one-on-one conversation, right? So with a two-way radio, you don't have one-on-one communication. Everyone else can hear everything that is being said, and you may have interference with people trying to call in. With Orion, I can actually take that, I can keep it isolated. The conversation is between the driver and whoever else needs to be engaged in that conversation. It's happening without latency, it's happening with clarity, because there is no static with PTT, or at least the Orion PTT. What I can do is I can have every driver within the platform, but then I can take every other personnel, whether it be a dispatcher, whether it be a manager, safety personnel, mechanics, and all of those are provided with a user role. It could be that a driver has a flat tire and doesn't want to talk to a dispatcher. They need to report it to the dispatcher, but the person who's going to help them get the vehicle back on the road is the mechanic or the safety personnel. So to have the ability for everyone to be able to communicate within the same platform is just paramount to keeping a safe operation. Workflows are absolutely incredible. Rather than having a driver sitting in a lot waiting for the opportunity to be cleared because they had a successful radio check, which sometimes can take up to 15 to 20 minutes, with the workflow, the driver just says radio check, and the system responds back to the driver to let them know that they're online. When you think about it, 15 minutes of waiting in a yard may not seem like a lot, right? But 15 minutes every day for a driver, a single driver, can actually calculate out to 45 hours per year. And 45 hours per year for that driver could be $700,000 by the time you take all the drivers that had to wait those 45 minutes. In most cases, a transportation agency just doesn't have one transportation provider. And they may have two different radio systems. By getting rid of those radio systems, which could cost between $200,000 to $300,000 per year per each one for licensing, what you're doing is that you're folding all of that into just the Orion platform, and now everyone's able to communicate on the same level. You have the cross communication, and you also have the ability of being able to get rid of additional data plans that aren't required in licenses. So in some cases, you're realizing $250,000 to $300,000 per year savings The organizations all have the opportunity to have voice recordings of everything that has happened, every communication between dispatchers, between drivers, and all of the back and forth. It also is stored for 365 days by Orion. So what does that mean? That means that it could have been an accident and an insurance company needs to know what happened, or the safety personnel needs to know what happened so that they, number one, maybe can prevent it from happening again, and so that they can have a clear understanding when they're filling out their reports. It could be that someone has fallen or someone has been hurt. It could be that a driver and a customer or a passenger had a disagreement, and we can actually go back and we can replay that when we're doing a report for the customer. Mobile device management, MDM, enables an organization's engineering team to manage dispersed in-vehicle tablets and with software like Orion in a controlled environment. And the MDM actually gives us the ability to make it so that the driver can't use any other parts of the tablet. The environment is locked down, and those are the applications that they can communicate with. The great thing about the MDM is that anytime that there needs to be a configuration change or an update to any of the applications, then ideally what we do is we just set it up, and we may want to push it right away. We want to maybe push it tonight at 9 o'clock or tomorrow morning at 1 a.m. And you have all of that ability to be able to do it. And on top of that, you may have one application that's more dominant than the other, and you're able to actually take the applications and set them up so that there is no dominance or conflict issue. Orion can also take the consolidation one step further with its floating PTT button. It's amazing for drivers. They're able to take that button and they're able to move it around on the screen. And what it is, it shows on top of all the other applications. So the Orion screen is in the background. You may have transportation management or turn-by-turn directions that are up on the front of the tablet, and the button actually is something that a driver can put where they want it to be. Can't tell you how much drivers enjoy that. I really see Orion Push-to-Talk 2.0 and voice workflows for process automation as the future of transportation operations of any size. Orion's free flow of voice and text messaging via smartphones or tablets, along with the ability to co-resident with other technology, are game changers for transportation operations. Orion ultimately results in improved communication between driver and dispatcher, which makes for a safer ride and improved customer and driver experience.